Hi, welcome to Your Community Reach. My name is Michelle Puzzo and I'm the Executive Director of Your Community Cares, spelt UR Community Cares. And we are a statewide nonprofit that helps older and disabled individuals get connected in their homes and in the community. We have a lot of different programs and we're so happy to be here today with Kristen Dockendorff. She is a advocate. She's a blind advocate, and we are so happy to have you here today. So how are you doing?
Thank you. I really appreciate having me here and spreading the word about Your Community Cares, as well as letting the blind community know the kind of resources that are available to keep independence in their life. So thank you for having me.
Yeah, we met quite a few months back, and as a user of the Your Community Tech Center, which is at 153 Spruce Street in Manchester, and we've had the opportunity to talk about technology, hear all about your history. So why don't you let our audience know a little bit more about you?
Sure, thanks. I am a retired art teacher. I taught in the Ashford school system for 32 years. I do have a progressive genetic eye disease, and for the last 11 years I taught. I was legally blind, but it got to a point where teaching art in a public school as a blind person just really wasn't something that I could continue to do. So regardless, I'm still an artist and I'm still a teacher. So I embraced technology, and when I found that Your Community Cares has people there that can help me with the things that I can't do, I decided to look more into that, and now I realize I can also share my teaching skills and promote the fact that blind people can be anything they want, including artists.
That's amazing, and I love your earrings.
I
Those
hope you
are
would
so
notice.
Cool. What are they?
One is a crayon box and one is a crayon.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
Yes, somebody gave those to me, so I figured today was a good day. They're asymmetrical for all you art people out there.
That's so cool. Well, I marvel at all that you do and all that you have done. And when we first met, we were planning out the Manchester Eye Health Fair. So we wanted, at Your Community Cares, we really wanted a way to get these resources out to the community. We know that organizations exist to serve blind individuals and people that are visually impaired, but not everybody knows how to find these resources. So we started in Manchester with our first eye health fair. That was in January. Then somebody reached out to us to also do this in New Britain. So we worked together to plan the New Britain Eye Health Fair, and now tomorrow we're heading off to Norwalk, and we're having our first Fairfield County event, so at the Norwalk Eye Health Fair. So we wanted to have you as our honorary speaker, and so we're really excited for tomorrow. So if you wanted to just share some of your experiences with the eye health fairs and tell people what they're kind of all about.
Sure, absolutely. The first thing about the Eye Health Fair, I think, is the connection. When I do my talks about things, I use the 4 C's, which are curiosity, creativity, courage, and community. And the community aspect of Your Community Cares is so essential. Like you said, there's a lot of blind people, and being blind innately forces you to be more alone. And if there's resources that you know about, then that is gone. You don't have to worry about being alone. And that was one of the biggest things coming from somebody who taught all the time. I really needed to be connected. And the Eye Health Fair is one of those places where you had many, many, many different kinds of speakers and people from all organizations throughout Connecticut and past Connecticut in the area that would give a little presentation about their services, and many of them also had examples of things that you could actually try and touch and put on your face and see if they worked for you. And it's very hard to try out technical equipment for vision impaired and pretty much any disability because they're extremely expensive. So having a place you can go to try something, to realize whether it is actually going to be beneficial, it's a really great place to be able to do that. So the eye health fairs just open up possibilities. And I think that's just really essential to keep your independence.
Yeah, I think so many people may be on this journey. The spectrum of vision deficits can change as we're aging. We know that there are about 20 million people across the U.S. that have vision impairments. So here in Connecticut, there is the state agency, BESB, which is the acronym. So why don't we just share, how do people get connected? If they were diagnosed with a diagnosis of being blind, what would they do next?
So the first thing is to actually go to an eye doctor. And the eye doctor is the one that will turn in the referral to BESB. So you can't just say, oh, well, I don't see very well, I think I'll call BESB. You actually have to have a diagnosis, and it has to be verified from your eye doctor. They will then give you what's called a certificate of legal blindness. And then you'll get assigned a social worker, and they can actually come to your house and look at your needs. They'll discuss it with you, whether it's vocational, if you're still working, whether it's past vocation and you're just retired and you need to figure out how to run your dishwasher and how to make your laundry go to the right dials and which buttons to push on your microwave. BESB will help you with all those kind of things. They'll teach you how to cook better, how to be safe in your house. And safety is obviously one of the biggest things for vision impaired people. There's what they call an O and M instructor, which stands for orientation and mobility. And they will literally teach you how to navigate in your house and outdoors in a way that you're not used to doing because you're so used to doing it with your eyes. So hooking up with the Bureau of Education and Services for the Blind, BESB, is exactly where you need to go. So first is your eye doctor. They will submit a claim, and you may have to call back. You know, it is an agency and there's a lot of people, so, but that's how you go about it.
Now, do you remember the phone number for BESB? I'm going to put you on the spot.
860-602-4000.
Okay, so if anybody's out there and would like more information, we would encourage you to call. But I think for many families and people that are on this spectrum of declining vision, giving up their license can be very scary. And when we talk about being lonely and isolated, we started a Manchester blind and low vision support group. So Kristen is the co-facilitator of that group, and many people come with, you know, on buses or being dropped off by someone that they know. I go and pick up people. But we know that transportation is expanding from the Greater Hartford Transit District to Hockanum Valley to Encompass. There's all types of resources out there. What do you use, and how beneficial is it for you to have given up that license and now you are using public transportation?
Well, certainly there's no way to remediate being able to go whenever you feel like it. You know, that's one thing that you have to give up and just be okay with giving it up, because you can't be impulsive. All of the ride services pretty much require some kind of scheduling. But on the other hand, I never worry about an empty gas tank or paying my insurance bill or anything like that. So all of the ride share options you generally register for. And again, as long as you have that certificate of legal blindness, the regular old buses have a discounted fare, and they actually will come out and ride with you on the buses to make sure you understand your routes and where you're going. So that's a service that the public transit system will do for you.
Oh.
And I use the regular bus a lot. So there definitely are ways that the regular bus, if you're near a bus line, you can learn to use that. Don't try to learn the whole system. Learn a place that you want to go and learn how to get there. Get comfortable with that, and then you can find another place. But, you know, sometimes learning something new is ridiculously overwhelming. So take a little step. Don't try to go run a marathon. I use the paratransit, which is connected with the public transit. And again, you have to register. It's $3.50 per ride. So it's a $7 round trip ride. And it's a door-to-door service. So they will pick you up at your door and bring you back to your door, drop you off exactly where you ask them to. So that's all great. And that is with tickets and then or cash. And then the Encompass is a taxi service that is, again, associated with the paratransit service. And that is a $5 charge for 8 miles. And then after 8 miles, it's a charge per mile after that. So if you're just in town and you need to go somewhere quickly, you can do the Encompass ride. Again, that's assuming that you have the certificate of legal blindness and you're registered.
Right, everything, there's an application,
Right.
You have to plan ahead and
Yeah.
get on the program first. But I think, you know, meeting Kristen and being now in this vision world, we've had the ability to go to events like the Greater Hartford Transit District had an ADA 35th celebration last week, and we were both tabling at the event. Kristen was tabling her artwork. So why don't you tell people a little bit more about the artwork that you're currently doing?
Sure. I am a potter. I like to do wheel thrown pottery. I also do a lot of sculpture. And I was in a show with my regular wheel thrown work, and it was supposedly a show for people with disabilities. And when I got to the opening of the show, mine was the only three-dimensional work in the show. And everything else was behind glass on the wall. So for me to go to a show for people with disabilities, the only piece that I could actually see was my own.
Oh.
So I started doing a whole series of sculptures that are specifically designed to be touched. So that's been a really great opening for me. I do a lot of origami, paper folding. I make flutes out of natural reeds that grow along the Hockanum River, and I play them as well. I used to do a lot of drawing and painting. I don't do as much of that anymore. I did find some really neat acrylic paint markers that are really thick. So sometimes I can try drawing. but that isn't my main thing anymore. I really have switched to more three-dimensional work. So,
That's amazing.
Yeah.
You are just, this is the thing, every time we talk, I hear more and more about what you're doing, and this is why you're our honorary speaker tomorrow. Motivational speaking has got to be, you're gifted with that. You're gifted with the ability to continue your artwork. And what are your plans of being a motivational speaker? Or what have you done in the past?
Well, I do like running the support group. I also ran the support group at Besby for 5 years before I started with this one. I think just like you said, sharing the fact that vision impaired people are people first.
Mm-hmm.
We're not disabled people. We're a people with a disability.
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing is to try to be true to yourself. Realize what you love and do it. You know, don't say, well, I can't see anymore, so I can't do it. Well, you might not be able to do it the way you used to. Or you might not be able to do it the way somebody else does it. But you find a way to do what you love. And I try to motivate people to realize that if they have curiosity, creativity, courage, and connections, that they can really do anything that they want to do.
That's absolutely, I mean, you're living your life as an independent woman with a guide dog. And so who's sitting next to you right now?
She's my favorite friend. Her name is Winnie. She is a golden retriever from the Seeing Eye, which is the oldest guide dog school in the nation. They are from Morristown, New Jersey, and she is my second guide dog. She helps me in so many ways. The first thing and most important reason why I got my first guide dog is when I started living on my own independently, I felt very nervous standing with a white cane waiting for a bus. That was my biggest worry. And again, it goes back to transportation.
Mm.
And a lot of the bus stops are literally a pole on the side of the road. So standing there with a white cane by myself on the side of the road made me feel very anxious. Mm. And that in itself would lead you not to want to go anywhere. So getting a guide dog, first of all, took away the worries of crashing into things. But second of all, just made me feel more confident as a independent traveler. So, I mean, I walked with a cane for many, many years. I have no problem walking with a cane, but it's not the same feeling as walking with a guide dog.
Now, what I've learned since meeting yourself and Winnie is understanding the rules, the courtesy rules of blindness. And how do most people approach you and Winnie, and how could people better understand how they should approach you?
Thank you, that's a great question. Most people approach me by, oh, can I pet your dog? Mm-hmm. That's the general way that people approach me. And what I explain to them, obviously depending on the age of the person, is that when you see a dog with a harness, it's not about a vest, because anybody can go online and buy a vest that says I'm a service dog. It's about the harness. And if a dog has a specific harness on, and for vision impaired people, they're a very specific thing. It's not like the little cloth thing that you buy at Stop and Shop or wherever. When the dog has the harness on, they are working and basically to be ignored, which is really hard because they're all wonderful dogs. Mm. So it's very hard to ignore a dog who's just sitting there. But that is their work. They are trying to pay attention to us, and specifically not you. When they have their harness on, they know their job is to pay attention to us, their handler. So even though you've seen it, when I take the harness off of Winnie, she is one big wiggle of a lovey dog. She knows the difference between working and not working. It's always best to ask the handler first. It's always best to ask any dog handler if somebody can pet their dog. But especially a dog that, and people do this to me all the time. Oh, I see you have a service dog. I know I'm not supposed to touch it, but, and they go right for the dog. You know, so it is a learning curve. It's something that people have to fight because it's a reaction. They just want to go for the dog.
Yeah, we've seen it. I mean, we've been at many events lately, and not everybody says, "Hey, Kristen," they say, "Can I pet your dog?"
They
And
totally do.
people just love pets. And I think now that pets are like, it's okay to bring a pet to the grocery store, or it's okay to bring them shopping. People think that pets everywhere are just
Right.
for play. And so this is good information of warning people that.
And also, speaking of pets, a lot of pet owners, dog particularly, think that their dog wants to play with your dog. And they purposefully bring it over and put it in front of your guide dog.
Yeah.
And of course, our guide dogs are trying really hard not to pay attention. So it's really, you know, that's another one of those things that, just like if you see the harness, please don't bring your dog over just because I have a dog. It doesn't mean I want to know your dog.
Right, and as a sighted person, we were at an event and I saw that there was a dog with a muzzle that was coming towards us. And I said to you, just make sure you have Winnie, because you just never know how other dogs are going to react. And we know that Winnie is such a sweetheart. But that dog did come over and started barking.
It did.
And was very aggressive.
Yeah.
And so you just never know how dogs are going to react. And so we're
That's
so
right.
happy that she's a great dog for you, and that we get to
Yes.
hang out with her too. So what are some cheers and tears? Sometimes at our Manchester Blind and Low Vision Support Group meets the first Tuesday of every month at 10 to 12. So what are some of the tears and cheers that you've come up with?
So cheers and tears is something that I came up with because losing your sight, being on the journey, even if you were born blind, you're on the journey. And it's a very emotional experience. I mean, there's no doubt about it. It's an emotional experience. And sometimes we forget that little things that we do are worth noticing. They're worth patting yourself on the back about. And sometimes we need to know that things that are affecting us in a negative way are also things that other people share, and it affects them as well. So by sharing those things, they don't seem quite as intense. It doesn't mean that you're going to be happy now,
Right.
but it means that you can share that frustration, and maybe somebody has a suggestion. And for the cheers, you need to be encouraged. Everybody likes encouragement.
Yeah.
So if I figured out how to use my smart glasses to read the directions on a recipe and make peanut butter cookies, you got to pat yourself on the back for that.
Yeah.
You know, it's little things, but every little thing you do adds up to be life. So you're living your life, and you got to recognize, yeah, I am doing that. you know?
Yeah, and in 2025, we talk about the smart glasses, we talk about the screen readers, we talk about all this new technology that's out. And people can come to our office at 153 Spruce Street and try out so many devices. Families can come, caregivers, and we are open Mondays, Thursdays, and Fridays, and people can come in and demo these things like we talked about, because it's overwhelming to learn all this technology. Besby will come out to your home as well, so you'll have support there. But people can also come to our office, and we're hoping that the greater Hartford region starts to use our office more as like a cafe. So people are hanging out. We've got CCTVs. We've got the Braille embosser, which you are hopefully going to be using very soon.
Yes.
So you've taught yourself Braille.
Yes. And speaking of, you know, advocacy for the blind, I think Braille is an amazing skill to learn. Even if you have some sight, a lot of people that are legally blind, part of what they can't do is read. And just being able to mark things. You don't have to say, well, I'm going to go read War and Peace in Braille. I mean, first of all, it would probably take up the whole room because Braille books are very big. But if all you're doing is learning to read the buttons in an elevator and learning to read which is the male bathroom and which is the female bathroom, and mark your tomato sauce versus your pinto beans, you know, learning Braille is just, it opens up a lot of doors and it closes a lot of frustration. Yeah. So, you know, that's another thing again. You don't have to learn everything about it.
Yep.
You can learn what you need to.
Yep. So we're so excited. We've got so many opportunities to continue to grow, and we're really happy that you're going to be a part of that. So everybody can stay tuned with continued updates about the Tech Center and our Vision Station, our Vision Resources Program. And you can find out more information if you go to yourcommunitycares.org. That's the website where Kristen's contact information will be. And you can check out our programs, and hopefully we'll see people down at our Norwalk Eye Health Fair tomorrow, and we'll be sharing that information as well.